Greetings. Welcome to part two of my Lenormand series here on YouTube. Um, Yesterday we just had a little bit of I offered a little bit of um, insight into why we might want to read Lenormand. Well, today we're going to actually get into the cards, and I'm trying to beat the darkness coming on, and also my husband is going to need the computer for his piano lessons, and so I want to quickly go right to the cards. But what we're talking about today basically is what the cards mean. And I said yesterday to you, if you're not interested in reading Lenormand, try to stick through at least this much of the video because this information is going to be useful for us later on in the year when we have a different video on a different subject. But these meanings of these cards are going to be important for us to at least know how to get a hold of them or what they're like or that kind of thing. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to change my camera and so we can get a close-up of the cards. Hopefully we'll be able to see them. I just have a couple of decks here in front of me, just several of my collection of Lenormand cards. And I want to show you that most times when you buy Lenormand, they're going to come in some kind of a little tuck box. This is a mystical Lenormand. And the boxes really are not much of anything. And they usually have a little white book inside. Um, Here's the Under the Roses. This one we're going to be using today because it has a really nice big images that you can see. But the most of them just come with the 36 cards and the little white book which has keywords. And what I really love about a lot of these decks is some of them have bonus cards. And what I mean by bonus cards is they will give you a choice. For instance, and you'll find out more later when we go to do the readings. But they offer you for the man and the woman card or the gentleman and the lady card. And some of them, even the child card as well, they offer you alternates. Let me see if I can find. Here's 13, which is the child. So you get to choose. Here it's skin tone. It's based on skin tone. It's not always based on skin tone. Sometimes it's based on just stylized. Here we have the gentleman and the lady, and here we have the lady and the gentleman. Different skin tone, which I do really like those. I don't know. It doesn't always depend on skin tone for me because in this deck, I tend to read using these two. And I tend to read using the other child, not this child. I don't know why. I just like the face. I like the better. I like the face. I like the style of it, the clothing, whatever. So it's just preference. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. I'll just leave this like that then. I also wanted to show you this deck, which I'm excited to have. This is the Fairy Tale Lenormand here. This comes, first of all, in this really cool tin, which is the greatest thing. But if you can look closely, can you look closely and see whose name is on this box? It's artwork by Lisa Hunt, but written by Arwen Lynch. Arwen Lynch, yes, who I talked about yesterday, or the day before, or a couple days ago. When did I talk about her? Oh, the tarot by the 9-card tarot. Tarot and 9 cards. So anyway, I was excited to see this deck, and I love the deck. And this deck, she has something written on the cards, and this is Arwen's. Arwen wrote all of this. It's wonderful. I'm a little sad. I have a page. Yeah, my page like came out of the book, and I don't want to lose the page. But anyway, I really love the. I really treasure this deck, and it has the stylized, I believe. Yeah, man, lady and gentleman. Wait, let me move these. You can have those, or you can have and it's just a matter of preference. So you got this shiny, fancy gentleman, the lady, and here we have the more a fairy tale. This was more, well, this is fairy tale, but this is like the basic prince and princess. This is more like a Cinderella character and oh, this is the peasant from the buffalo and the tiger. Buffalo and the tiger. This is a Vietnamese tale. So I really like those. So two different kinds of fairy tale versions. For me, I think I'm going to use the Prince and the Princess because this looks like more like people in garb, which I'm used to seeing. But anyway, I think this Under the Roses version is going to show up a little better on the camera. So for right now, I'm going to be using that. But I love all these decks. I really do. And what I like about them, I tend to, if I'm going to read the deck with in combination with the tarot deck, I like to have a variety of Lenormand cards because, like, I read, for instance, there's a Druid Craft Lenormand, which of course goes perfectly with a, where's the glare? There, that's better. With a Druid Craft Tarot. So I like to use them in conjunction with each other. Okay, now, those of you who have taken classes with me particularly are going to laugh when you hear me say this. Because when I talk about tarot, I talk about these little white books that come with the decks all the time. And I say to my students, for the most part, like, get rid of the book. Not get rid of it, but for a lot of decks, it's just a worthless deck. It's worthless information. Develop your understanding. You can use them to develop an understanding of the meanings of the cards. But other than that, they're really not worth too much. Sometimes the bigger books, like the books like we get with the Wildwood, that sticks in my head, or even like here, the Shadowland, which I have here in front of me. This is the Shadowland. It does offer so much insight into the cards, you know, a lot of insight into the cards and meaning the cards. So we see like the little twists about how this deck, you know, varies a little bit in the meaning. So that's wonderful. But remember what we said about the Lenormand. The card's going to mean what it's going to mean. So we don't really need these little deck books other than when you start out. When you start out, you need them. And the thing that this is what's going to make my students laugh. In tarot, I tell you, you do not memorize keywords. It's not memorizing keywords. It's about developing an understanding with the tarot cards and what they mean and what what they might mean and where they are in the spread, etc. In Lenormand, they mean what they mean. Basically, they mean what they mean. Now, the position in there is going to change it a little bit, but basically, they do mean what they mean. And you need, in the beginning, usually, this card because you need to see what in the world does the writer mean. And it's going to give you a few keywords. And it's going to say here, news, messages, invention, ideas, lover, young person, visitor, intuition, opportunity, surprise, soon, renew, return, movement, and change. Well, hell. Hell's bells. That's still another problem, isn't it? It's a lot of words. What you need to do is pick a word or two out of that list and learn it. Memorize it. Yes. What did I say? Memorize it. We're going to memorize the key words. Now, I don't really use the book. I use what other people use. There's lists all over the place. Kelly from Truth and Story offers a list. Donna Lay offers a list. I'm going to offer you a list here. I think mine is pretty much the same as theirs. They're pretty much the same. It can change a little bit of meaning later on. If you're going to read a lot, you're going to sort of develop a little bit of nuance to go with your meaning, perhaps. But basically, it's just the keywords. It's just a keyword because the idea is you're going to be able to put the keyword with this card together with the keyword of another card and possibly a third card, and you're going to make a sentence using those cards. And that's your oracle. That sentence is your oracle. It's not long and involved. There's not a lot of, influences from other things, whatever in there. So, okay. So what I want to do today is just quickly go through the cards because you have to, and tell you the keywords, which what the cards are, name the cards, show you the number, remind you that there's a number, each card is numbered, and give you keywords for each card. Now, along with memorizing a keyword for each card, you also must memorize the number and the name of the card. You have to, for instance, this is card number 1, and it is the rider. This is the rider. Card number 1 is always the rider. In any deck, the card is always the rider. Some decks, depending on their styling, might offer you a different word or a different kind of a picture, but basically it's going to be the same thing. I got these out of order somehow. There we go. Okay. So again, I'm not even paying attention to what I'm saying. The cards are going to have a number and a name, and I want you to memorize that. If you're serious about reading Lenormand, remember the name. The number 1 is the rider. And I'm making a list here. There are lists you can get online all over the place. You can just pause this and write it down, or you can get it off from somebody else, or you can just take it out of your book and make it if you're going to do it. But we need to memorize these because it doesn't make too much difference now, the name, what number it is, but for true reading, when we read like a grand tableau, when we get into that, we do need to know the number of the card. That's really, really going to be important. So basically, I recommend that you memorize both the name and the number of the card, and you memorize a few keywords to go with each card. Okay? So we're just going to go through it. I want to show you how simple this is compared to tarot. Number 1 is the rider, and that's usually a message of some kind or movement. Number 2 is clover, the clover, and that's luck, some kind of luck. It's usually just a little bit of luck. Not a big, you didn't win the lottery, but you had a good day, or you might have won the football pool. Okay. Number 3, the ship, is about travel or some kind of movement, especially if it's movement, it has to do with an engine like a car, like that. Number 4 is house, just what you think it is. It's your house. It represents your house or your family or your home, maybe your very closest friends, those kind of things. Okay. Number 5 is a tree. Okay. And that represents your health, or it could represent, your legacy, what you're known for. It could represent some kind of growth, which takes a long time to grow. Number 6 is clouds, the clouds, which represents some kind of confusion, maybe a misunderstanding of some kind. It could be a person that's causing a misunderstanding. It could be a lot of things. It could be depression. It also could be depression. Okay. The snake. Now this is misleading because in this deck, it looks like it's the lady, but it's really the snake. And you have to be careful of that because now this says very clearly the snake, but some decks don't have the words on them. They just have the snake. So that's another reason you want to memorize the name, that 7 is snake. 7 is the snake. So if it doesn't have the words, you're not looking at the lady, which is another card. You're looking at the snake. Okay. And the snake has to do with some kind of deceit or envy. I think there's a woman here because sometimes it means the other woman. Some kind of lies or jealousy, a nemesis of some kind or something like that. Okay, number 8 here is a good one. This one is called, we call it the coffin, but here on this card is called the grave. But it's really the coffin. The card 8 is coffin. So again, we have to memorize the coffin. What does that mean? It's the end of something. It's actually a painful ending. Something is absolutely done. It's like the death card in the tarot, but it is something is complete. It's over. It's over. Okay, and it's painful. It could be, and a lot of these, also, this is another reason you want to know the names, because this also could be literal. This could be literal. Like the ship could really be a ship, and the horse, this could really be a horse. This could really be a house. This could really be a tree. It really could be that, okay? So the grave could really be a box, the coffin. It's the coffin because it could mean a box. It could represent a box. So this is really not a good interpretation of the card. It's misleading. It's not called the coffin. I don't see a coffin. It doesn't have anything to do with a box, but this could mean a box. So we got to memorize it. We can enjoy the pictures, and that's fine. Okay, this is a bouquet, actually a bouquet, a bouquet of flowers. And it represents, and it's important that you see this as a bouquet because there's other flowers. There's lilies that come up later, but these are just a bouquet of flowers. And this also represents luck, but this is big luck. This could be winning the lottery. This could be, um, also could be some kind of a gift given to you, or it could, or some kind of a gift you have, like maybe you were born with the talent to do something. So it's something like that. Okay, this is the side, usually the side, it could be the sickle, but in many decks, it is the actual side that looks like a scythe. I still have that. Is that better with the glare? There. Um, and this is it's something cut or sharp words or something that is cut, cutting remarks or something that's painful. Okay. Number 11 is, here it's a whip, but here again it looks like a woman. But it's usually sometimes you just see a whip or you see a whip and a broom. Sometimes you see a whip and a broom, two things. When we go to read them, when I go to show you the readings, how we read, I'm going to be careful what cards I pick to represent the reading so that you can really see how important that becomes in the reading. But whip and broom kind of mean the same thing. And it is some kind of a punishment or something that is repetitive, something that happens, or something being swept away. It could be, something being removed. So, um, again, important to know the thing. Here's the one I was talking about, the difference. This is the owls in this deck, but sometimes it's birds, and it usually means having to do with talking or singing, something to do with the voice. It could also represent a small group, like a really small group, like a little clique or something, or where you just have information among yourselves, sharing information among yourselves. In some instances, I think it might mean gossiping. Not sure. I guess it maybe depends on what card it's with. The child, here we have the child. And this is just like you think it would mean. It is the new beginning of something or something young and still, growing, is beginning and growing, or very innocent, very naive or innocent, like a child would be. How about the fox, number 14? What do you think of when you think of the fox? The fox is, sly, right? It's a manipulator, a little bit of manipulator. Maybe the chick, in the cartoons or in books, children's books, the fox was always out trying to outsmart people, outwit the other characters in the book, manipulate them in some ways. Now, to some people, this is a job, but um, for us, some people think that this is a job, but for us, it's just a small job. It's not a career. It's just maybe a little job. But I just like Donna Lay, I think it is. She reads another card having to do with her job. Um, or work, So she doesn't usually associate this with a job, and neither do I. I usually associate this with something like, um, some cheater, some kind of a cheater maybe around you, or you're being cheated in some way. Here we go. Here we have the bear. This is maybe a protector, a boss, somebody, maybe an employer who looks over, some kind of authority figure or this could be a big job. This could be a big job, you know, something that's going to make a difference in your life. So this is a good job card. It also could mean like a parent, something protecting you. Think about the mother bear. Here we have the stars, number 16, which is maybe a wish on a star, something that you see, something that's hopeful. This association I used to think of wishing, something wishing or hopes, or visibility. You see them in the sky. 17, we see the stork. And what do we think of? The stork brings a baby, right? The story, some of you might be old enough to have heard that tale. But we think of the stork bringing a baby, but it's the movement. Um, it's relocating. It's some kind of change. It could be, yes, a birth. It could be a new cycle beginning or something like that. Some kind of movement. The dog. Oh, everybody's favorite loyal pet, the dog. And that's exactly what this means. Some loyal friend, somebody you could trust or depend on, somebody that's always there for you. But you have to look at the other cards around. What if it's beside the fox? Maybe somebody that you thought was loyal, maybe is not so trustworthy. That's the magic of Lenormand cards that we're going to see a little bit tomorrow about that. Okay, here we have the Tower. This is another one of these misleading cards because it is actually, in this deck, it is called the Clock Tower, but mostly it's just called the Tower. It usually is not depicted with a clock at all. It's just a tower. And that is usually something to do with the corporate hierarchy. Like think about a high-rise buildings and the CEO has his penthouse suite up at the top of the building. Um, some kind of a hierarchy. It could be a hierarchy, an office where you're, getting promoted up to the hierarchy. But also could be, think of, Rapunzel in her tower. She was isolated in her tower, so it could mean that too. That kind of thing as well. So nothing really having to do with the clock. So this is a little misleading. This is just the artist who painted, who did this deck, just taking some artistic license. That's fine. It's interesting. It makes it interesting. But you have to know the meaning. You have to memorize it. The clues are not going to get the clues from the picture. Number 20 is the garden, and that has to do with any kind of a group situation. It's public. It's like out in the public. Like it could be a wedding outside, or it doesn't have to be outside, but it's a large group. Think of a garden wedding, or think of some kind of a convention or a celebration or some kind of a large group of people. Okay, that was 20. Number 21 is a mountain. And what is a mountain? Where do we see mountains? We see mountains coming up. We see a mountain coming up in the lover's card and then in the background of the lover's card. Sometimes it's a mountain. What's between you? Well, what's between you? And the mountains show up a lot of time in the tarot deck. Well, here it's absolutely what you think it is. It's something that is going to take a long time to climb. It is something that maybe is in your way. It's standing in your way. Something's going to be difficult. Something's going to be maybe your roadblock. There's something that's just in your way. Some kind of something that's going to require a lot of effort on your part. The crossroads is really the path. It's called the path in most decks. And sometimes you don't even see it as a crossroads. So it really does not have too much to do with the picture. It has everything to do with the meaning, the path. But you have to realize that the path is usually meaning a crossroads, if I said that correctly. It's not always depicted as crossroads. It's sometimes just depicted as a path, but it is always implies that there's some kind of decision or choice to be made. Usually something that with choosing between two different something, I can go this way or I can go this way. Choice of two people, choice of two jobs, choice of two houses, something. 2 and 2. And that's in the number 2 and 2, you can see that too. 2 and 2. Okay, the mice. The mice getting into your cupboards, nibbling away at your cheese. You dirty rat, right? They're taking something from you. They just nibble a little bit at a time, but they're stealing from you nonetheless. Okay. They're also making less than. Something is really less than you think it is because they're nibbling away. You thought you had a big piece, now you have a little piece of cheese because they're nibbling away at a little nibble at a time. It's something like a pest or something worrisome. It could be a disease of some kind, which makes you waste away a little bit. Okay. Now this is a locket, but it's in this deck. It's the locket. It's really the heart. It's called the heart in a lot of decks. And it means exactly what you would think it would mean. It means love or romance of some kind. It could be a little heart. It could mean your heart. Like all of these cards could be literally what they are. So it could mean your heart, not necessarily your locket, but your heart. but in this case, it represents love or romance of some kind. The ring, and here's another one of those pictures, which is really, it's misleading because it looks very much like a flower. It doesn't look like, or a hand, it doesn't look like the ring, which is very small on her finger. I'm not even sure in this light if you're able to see it very well. But it's there, and it's the ring that's important, and it's the ring that's the name of the card, number 25, which you must memorize. Number 25, the ring, and it means some kind of a promise, some kind of a contract or commitment. Think about an engagement ring, promising to marry somebody. 26 is book, and here it's called the journal, but it's a book, and it's something that is written, something written down. It's often a diary. It's depicted looking like a diary-looking book, which could imply secrets, could imply some kind of knowledge that other people don't know, or knowledge that you're acquiring through the course of studies, something like that. 27 is the letter. This is your written correspondence. It doesn't have to be a letter. It could be any kind of a written correspondence, like particularly like an email or something like that. Text, prescription, something that is written. 28 and 29. There they sit in front of me. I forgot to put them in. The gentleman and the lady, or the man and the woman. These cards are normally used as significators in the reading, but they are what they appear to be. The man is a man, the lady is a lady. And if the reading is for a woman, the lady card is her significator. And it depends on where it shows up in the grand tableau, for instance, what it means. The gentleman is the same way. If you're reading for a man, that would be the significator. If it doesn't have anything, if it is not, if you're reading for a woman and the man shows up, it doesn't mean a handsome young dark man. That's not what it means. Well dressed. It has nothing to do with his physical appearance. It means some kind of a male is going to be the subject of this reading, and vice versa. It has nothing to do with the physical appearance of the card. It's just aesthetics, like what you like to look at. Like I like to look. They look so friendly and happy. These people don't. This person, she looks like a sort of hoity-toity hottie. She looks hottie. And he looks too young to know anything. I'm sorry, he just does. He looks very young and naive. The lilies, now here, see, this is a particular kind of a flower. This is not the bouquet. The bouquet, this is the lilies, and it's a very different meaning. And this is a pureness, a naivete, some kind of innocence, okay? It's something that takes a long time to develop. Like, again, it could be an older person, or it could be, just like a bank account that grows over a long period of time. Okay, number 30. 31 is, here's the sun out. So it's something you can see. It's exposed. Something is exposed, or it's just happiness. It's just joy. The sun finally comes out after the rain is ended. Okay, it could be, being in the spotlight as well. Number 31. Number 32 is the moon. And the moon has to do with, very often, your reputation, how people see you, the face that you put on with the world, the face that you show other people, like the ascendant when we're studying astrology, the ascendant in astrology, how people see you. And this is also, it could also have to do with being psychic or having dreams, some kind of dreams as well. Just a few more left. The key, number 33, is the answer. It's some kind of an answer. You finally get, the mystery is solved. It's something that's really important, or the way to get to something else, the key. Fish, the fish, number 34, is the money. It's money. It's all about money, or it's all about abundance of some kind. It could be fertility as well. Number 35 is the anchor, and that's staying put, putting your roots down, Um, something secure, something security represents your security. Hard work, putting in the hard work for the result that you're wishing to have. Putting down the anger, staying in port, right? And finally, 36 is the cross. And I think some people were saying that this varies, and this the meaning of this varies in different kind of decks. In the French tradition, I believe, which Donna Lay, I think this comes from her system. I'm not sure, but this is what I like to see too. The burden. I think of the cross. I think the burden of the cross, something that you must bear, something that you must sacrifice, or this could mean karma, something coming back that you. What did you put out? This is maybe you're getting payback. Okay, it could be a sacrifice. It could be that kind of a thing. Okay, it's a spiritual card, but maybe not in the way that you might traditionally think of it. I'm just trying to tell you that you want to go with the common words, the common meanings, because if you're like me, and if you're like most tarot readers or oracle card readers, you're going to get more. You're going to end up with more than one of these decks. Let's face it. You're not going to just be happy to have one of these decks. So you want it to be consistent, right? I'm just saying, again, I'm going to emphasize before I go off of here, you must memorize the cards, their numbers, and some kind of keyword for each card. That's just, you just got to do it. You just got to put on your big girl panties and do it, okay? Or big boy panties and do it. And then you need to stick with your meanings. And you can develop nuances later on if you want to, but you need to really stick with those meanings so you can use them because you're going to take what this card means, what this card means, what this card means, what this card means, put them in a sentence. That's how we read. And that's what we're going to be doing starting next week. Okay. And if you don't have words, you can't just put feelings, or you have to have actual words. Word plus word plus word equals whatever your sentence is. You got that? Okay. You'll see for sure how we do this next week. It'll be clearer to you. Alrighty. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again. I send you blessings.